The laughter followed him up the hill like an echo that refused to die, sharp and careless, bouncing off bare trees and half-finished houses, as a veteran and his dog climbed toward the strange step structure everyone in town had already decided was a joke. On the coldest morning of the year, when breath turned white in seconds and the ground felt like iron beneath worn boots, neighbors stood at a distance shaking their heads, convinced they were watching a broken man waste his last chance at shelter. If you believe in silent heroes' second chances and quiet resilience, take a moment now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so more real stories like this can be told. His name was Samuel Carter, a former Army engineer who had come home from service with scars no one could see and a savings account that barely survived the transition back to civilian life. The war had taught him how to build under pressure, how heat moved through space, how structure could mean survival, but it had not prepared him for the loneliness of coming home to a country that said thank you once and then forgot. After his wife passed away from illness and the medical bills swallowed what little stability he had left, Samuel sold his small house and moved to the edge of a quiet mountain town in the United States, a place where land was cheap and winters were merciless. The only companion who stayed with him through everything was his old German shepherd, Max, a dog who had learned patience and loyalty alongside him. Instead of building a normal cabin, Samuel designed something no one else understood. The house was built into the slope of the hill, with rooms stepping downward instead of stretching outward, each level slightly lower than the one before it. From the outside, it looked uneven, awkward, almost unfinished. From the inside, it looked even stranger. Floors dropped instead of rising. Ceilings changed height, and walls followed angles that made visitors dizzy. The neighbors laughed openly, calling it a maze, a bunker, a waste of time. They said heat would escape, that cold air would settle, that the old man had finally lost his mind. Samuel never argued. He worked quietly every day, hauling salvage wood, insulating with layered materials he had collected over months, sealing gaps with the precision of someone who had once built shelters under fire. Max followed him everywhere, watching, waiting, curling up on whichever level Samuel rested on. Nights were the hardest. The wind howled through the valley, and temperatures dropped fast. Power outages were common, and propane was expensive. The town relied on traditional heating, and even then, winters pushed people to their limits. As December deepened, the jokes grew louder. Some neighbors placed bets on how long Samuel would last before abandoning the project. Others warned him, half mocking and half concerned, that he would freeze before January. Samuel listened, nodded politely, and kept building. He had learned long ago that explanations were wasted on those who didn't want to understand. What no one noticed was the way Samuel tested each level carefully, adjusting vents, sealing doors, guiding airflow the way he once guided troops. Heat, he knew, rose. Cold sank. Instead of fighting that truth, he worked with it. Each stair-step room trapped warmth from the one below, reducing heat loss and creating natural temperature layers. Firewood was stacked strategically, and thermal mass walls absorbed warmth during the day and released it slowly at night. It wasn't pretty, but it was intentional. The first real test came when the coldest winter in decades arrived without mercy. A brutal storm rolled in, burying roads, knocking out power across the region, and driving temperatures far below what the town was prepared for. Houses built to standard designs began to fail. Pipes froze. Heaters sputtered. Families huddled in single rooms, burning through firewood faster than they could replace it. Samuel stayed inside with Max, moving calmly between levels, checking seals, feeding the fire just enough. Something remarkable happened as the hours passed. The lowest level stayed coldest, as expected, but each step upward was warmer. 12 degrees warmer, measured carefully with an old thermometer Samuel trusted more than any digital device. Each level created a buffer, a gradual transition that prevented heat from escaping all at once. By the time warmth reached the top room, it was stable, comfortable, and efficient. Outside, panic spread. The storm worsened, and the town realized help wouldn't arrive soon. One by one, neighbors who had laughed days earlier found themselves facing dangerous cold. That was when the knock came at Samuel's door, hesitant and embarrassed. He opened it without hesitation. One family at a time, then another, then another. Samuel guided them inside, placing them on different levels, explaining nothing, simply making space. The warmth shocked them. People expected cold corners, drafts, discomfort. Instead, they felt steady heat, gentle and reliable. Children stopped shivering. Elderly neighbors slept peacefully for the first time in days. Max moved among them quietly, a calm presence in the chaos. Word spread quickly. The strange Stair-Step house became the safest place in town. As the storm raged on, Samuel worked constantly, adjusting, feeding the fire, ensuring everyone stayed warm. No one laughed anymore. They watched him with new eyes, seeing not a broken veteran, but a man who had planned for survival when no one else had bothered. They saw how every level mattered, how each step served a purpose. When the storm finally passed and power was restored, the town gathered outside Samuel's house, silent and humbled. The laughter was gone, replaced by gratitude and something close to shame. The same people who mocked his design now asked questions, wanted to understand how it worked, how he knew what others didn't. Samuel never lectured. He simply said he built what he needed, using what he knew. The town changed after that winter. People stopped judging so quickly. They listened more. They invited Samuel to community meetings, asked for his advice, included him instead of overlooking him. He never sought recognition, but respect found him anyway. Just before this story ends, take a moment to comment below and share what part moved you the most. Your voice matters, and your engagement helps keep stories like this alive. In the quiet month that followed, Samuel's house became a symbol, not a clever design, but of resilience, humility, and the power of thinking differently. Max grew older, moving slower, always resting on the warmest step. And every winter after that, as snow covered the hill and wind tested the valley, the stair-step rooms held steady, each level warmer than the last, proving that sometimes the things people laugh at are the very things that save them.